There's a really strong but underrated Ambessa build you need to try for this patch, and Swain's got an extremely interesting new hybrid build that's been winning a ton. And did you know mastering your champion will boost your win rate by a massive 9% on average? That's why at SkillCapped we offer Smurf commentaries. Simply select the champion you want to master and get guides from challenger experts teaching you how to play your champion in the exact rank you're stuck in. You're even guaranteed to have all your questions answered by that very same challenger expert. After that, take one of our 5 brand new courses that teach you the secrets to carrying as a top laner, jungler, mid laner, AD carry, and support. It doesn't stop there. We have new Season 14 courses on macro, wave control, trading, setting and hotkeys, CSing, vision, mechanics, low elo mistakes, the list goes on. The best part, you can try all this out completely risk-free, since if you don't rank up while actively using SkillCapped, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below right now to get the rank you've always dreamed of. We've covered this new Ambessa setup in brief during a few of our previous meta videos, but want to feature it here as well for those who may have missed it. The majority of Ambessa players have been running Eclipse as their main rush item. However, Voltaic Cyclo Sword is starting to be played more in high elo, and it's winning way more than Eclipse. Eclipse is nice because you get the shield, which offers up nice added durability, but that's really the only benefit that it has over Cyclo Sword. It's the passive on Voltaic Cyclo Sword which makes the item incredibly valuable for Ambessa. Voltaic's passive gives you an energized proc, and this proc is charged 75% faster when you dash or go into stealth. Since Ambessa is dashing around so frequently, she can stack the passive faster than any other champion in the game and get multiple passive procs off during an extended skirmish. The passive proc not only deals bonus damage, but it also slows enemies, which is perfect for Ambessa to help stick onto targets since she lacks a hard CC lockdown tool on her basic abilities. So even though you'll be a little bit squishier with Voltaic early on in the game as opposed to Eclipse, the potential damage output is way higher and you transition into bruiser items from then on out. It's Black Cleaver as the second purchase, and then Spear of Shojin slots in third. Now the rune page that you want to be running on Ambessa consists of Conqueror for the Keystone rune, and then it's important you take the Domination tree for secondaries with sudden impact. There's a new build for top lane Maokai that is extremely powerful right now, and it's turning him into the most underrated top lane champ in the game. Over the past patch, players have started running a build that revolves around Unending Despair as the rush item, and they're winning at an incredible rate. We've seen this core build a little bit in the past on a few other tanks, as the entire 3-item core synergizes so well together. After rushing Unending Despair, you go Winter's Approach second, and then Spirit Visage third. What makes this core so strong is the fact you get healing from Unending Despair and shielding from Winter's Approach, and those heals and shields are then amplified by 25% from the passive on Spirit Visage. When you factor in that Maokai also has the healing coming out of his own passive, you have so much added durability that will keep you alive for a very long time in a team fight. The rune page to go alongside this build is Grasp with Demolish, Second Wind, and Overgrowth, while Mana Flow and Transcendence are for secondaries. There's a new build that has been making its way into meta on Kayn, especially over in Korea. This is now the most played build on Kayn in Korea solo queue. However, in the western regions, it's not being picked nearly as frequently, with less than 10% of Kayn players in NA and EU running the build. So this build in question has you rushing Voltaic Cyclo Sword, and those who are running the item are winning the most right now. So there's 2 different routes that you could go after rushing Voltaic, as Black Cleaver into Death's Dance works great if you're playing red Kayn, while Edge of Night into Cyrilda's Grudge is the way to go if you're playing blue Kayn. So regardless of whether you're playing red or blue Kayn, Cyclo Sword is the optimal rush item right now and should not be slept on. Item just makes a lot of sense on Kayn because even though he doesn't have that same kind of ludicrous mobility that Ambessa has, his Q is on a super short cooldown, which will help you stack up the energized proc from Voltaic rather quickly. Conqueror and Dark Harvest are both viable keystone options for Kayn. However, Conqueror is going to be of more value if you're going for red Kayn, while Dark Harvest works best if you're going blue Kayn. With the recent nerfs to Udyr reducing a lot of the power on R max builds, there's this new Q max setup that has been finding some sneaky good success. If you guys remember back a while ago, there was a time where Q max lethality Udyr was super strong in meta and his most played build. Lethality is far from being the most played build on Udyr right now, but it's back to being a much stronger and very underrated build once again. The rush item that has been winning the most on Udyr over the past patch has been Ghostblade. After rushing Ghostblade, it's the Collector as your second purchase, and then Lord Doms rounds out the core. Ghostblade Rush just makes a lot of sense for this assassin style Udyr because the bonus movement speed helps him a ton to reach his target successfully. As long as you can get in range of enemy squishies, then you'll have no issues at all one-shotting them, so Ghostblade helps to enable that. The Collector just adds even more lethality and burst strength on that 2-item core so that you're one-shotting everything in sight. Now for the rune page, it's very unique with this build, as you don't want to be running Conqueror and instead take Hail of Blades. Hail of Blades providing those 3 quick auto attacks is amazing for lethality Udyr because in tandem with his Q, just offers up so much upfront burst. Also, remember that your skill max priority when playing this build will be Q first, E second, and then W last. You only want to put a point into R at level 2 to help out with your clear. The standard Swain build for mid lane right now has him going Blackfire Torch into Cosmic Drive as his 2-item core. Now, this setup is 100% viable right now, but there is a new alternative build that has been gaining traction. This new setup has you rushing Rylai's, going Winter's Approach second, and then rounding out the core with a Riftmaker. So the one big downside to the standard Blackfire into Cosmic Drive build is that you are really missing not having the slow from Rylai's passive. Rushing Rylai's while playing standard AP Swain was never really that great though, just due to the fact that you will run out of mana super quick. Well, with Winter's Approach now in the mix, that downside of running out of mana isn't as much of an issue now. You'll grab an early tier to get that stacking and go right into Rylai's. Overall, this build feels really nice on Swain just due to the fact that you can actually play him much more like a frontliner. With Blackfire Torch not providing any sort of durability, it doesn't feel like you can be as aggro as you'd like to at times. With Rylai's and Winter's Approach providing a grand total of 950 health, it helps get Swain right up into the thick of things and not have to worry as much about dying super fast. Now, as for the rune page with this build, look to run Conqueror. Airy is an option as well, but since you're going to be way more durable with this setup, you'll be able to take advantage of the stacking element of Conqueror a lot better than with the Blackfire Torch build. High Elo Aurelian Soul players have been running a new core build as of recent, and it consists of taking Horizon Focus as a core item. It's usually Liandry's that is purchased most frequently as the second or third item on Aurelian Soul, but this build is much more centered around dealing with squishier team comps. If the enemy team is not stacking a ton of health, then you won't be getting as much value out of the percent max health damage from Liandry's. Horizon Focus can slot in to offer up more burst power, and the 25 ability haste is also super nice to reduce the cooldown of Aurelian Soul's R so that you can be spamming it out in the later stages of the game. The complete 3-item core that you should be trying is Blackfire Torch Rush into Rylai's second and then Horizon Focus third. The rune page that you should be taking consists of Comet with Mana Flow, Absolute Focus, and Scorch, while Presence of Mind and Cut Down are for secondaries. With Corki back in meta for ADC and being one of the strongest champs for solo queue, there's a new build that you can look to try for 14.23. This one is being played by Double Lift in solo queue, and it consists of completely bypassing Manamune as a core pickup. You're not buying the Collector either, as it's actually Essence Reaver in tandem with Trinity Force for the 2-item core. Now, if you haven't been following patch notes for a while, then you may be wondering, well, wait, don't Trinity Force and Essence Reaver have the same passives? They used to both have the Spellblade passive, but that's no longer the case, as Essence Reaver was reworked so that its passive now just provides mana back when you auto. This means that you can combine Trinity with Essence Reaver for a really nice mid-game spike on Corki. One of the big perks to going Essence Reaver over Manamune is that you get the 25% crit. This means that on your 3-item core, you'll have 50% crit, which feels really nice for the mid to late game. The rune page that Double Lift has been running on his Corki is also much different than what everyone else is doing. Instead of going for Inspiration Secondary, he's been taking Sorcery, opting for Mana Flow Band and Gathering Storm. The Mana Flow makes a lot of sense when playing this build, since you will be lacking mana by not going for Manamune. This patch is going to be really nice for Tristana because Yuntal Wild Arrows is getting buffed, and it's been a pretty strong rush item for her even before the buffs. The Collector being nerfed should put even more priority on Wild Arrows because the Collector was the item that was being rushed the most on Trist in 14.22. Wild Arrows was the second most rushed item last patch, so we expect for that gap to close between the two items for 14.23. Our Challenger expert Hector even has a brand new full game commentary on Trist up on our website where he's playing her with the Wild Arrows build, so definitely check that out if you intend on picking her up. With the attack speed that you're getting from Wild Arrows, along with the attack speed from Tristana's Q, this allows you to go into Infinity Edge as your second item instead of Flicker Blades. Going Flicker Blade second is a bit overkill on the attack speed, at least for early on, so by going Infinity Edge, you just have a lot more upfront burst, and this is the exact build that Hector has been liking. Now, since you're getting a good amount of attack speed from Wild Arrows, you can also opt for Press the Attack instead of Lethal Tempo as your keystone rune. Especially if you're paired with a melee engaged support, then going for PTA will be really great value. With Vel'Koz support now a top tier champ after his 14.22 buffs, it's paramount that you're running the most optimal build to take full advantage of him. Instead of running the standard Luden's Rush, an alternative rush item in Horizon Focus has been leading to far greater results. Azap, who's one of the best Vel'Koz players in the world, has been running this build, and it's translated very well into solo queue. One factor that makes Horizon Focus really nice on a support like Vel is how efficient its build path is. There are multiple amp tomes in the build path and 2 fiendish codexes. This means you'll never be sitting on a ton of gold when trying to complete the item and will always be at max power coming off a reset. The ability haste is also super nice because you're getting 25 as opposed to only 10 from Luden's. This 25 haste combined with the fact that Vel just had his R cooldown buffed last patch will put Vel'Koz's R on a super short cooldown for the early to mid game, which gives the champ so much more consistent kill threat. After going for the Horizon Focus Rush, it's going to be Liandry's second, and then Realm Spike is the item upgrade. For the rune page, take Comet for the Keystone rune with Mana Flow, Absolute Absolute Focus and Scorch, while Cheap Shot and Relentless Hunter are for secondaries. Bard has got to be the champion with the most wonky builds that actually end up working, and right now, there's a new one going around. This one is going to be a more solo carry oriented setup, as you'll be dealing a nice amount of added damage from your auto attacks. The rush item is pretty standard, as it's going to be Dead Man's Plate, and Bloodsong is the item upgrade. It's the second core item that is brand new, as you'll be running Static Shiv. So back in 14.22, Shiv was adjusted so that you now need to auto attack 3 times to get the full benefit from its passive damage. Bard, being a support who wants to auto a bunch due to his own passive, is able to utilize this new passive on Shiv very well. When you factor in the damage coming out of Bloodsong, the Dead Man's Plate passive, and then the Shiv passive as well, you have a lot more damage potential with this build. You're also getting 4% movement speed from both items, which is great on a support like Bard, who can utilize movement speed better than most supports. So if you're looking for a new carry build to play down in the support role, definitely give this one a go for this patch, as it has been Bard's highest win rate core setup as of recent. For Bard's rune page, look to grab Guardian with Font of Life, Conditioning, and Overgrowth, while Freeboots and Biscuits are for secondaries. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the difference. So there you have it everyone, 10 new OP builds that you can look to play for patch 14.23. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you back soon.